Hello and good morning. Happy first Friday, everyone. Welcome to Instructor Insights. Welcome. All right, got my coffee here. We're ready to get started chatting. Hello, Wayne. Hello, Brian. Welcome. All right, so first Friday of the month, I'm here to share my thoughts around respect in the interview room. And kind of when I was putting this all together, I was thinking about how do we go about doing this? What have I done in the past? Feedback, advice, pointers, folks throughout my career have kind of given me. And this was all kind of coming together, I really thought about the concept around the ability to command respect from a subject during an interview is first and foremost interviewing 101. I think it's a critical skill set for the professional interviewer. And when I think about commanding respect, listen, first of all, we have to recognize we're not going to achieve respect by simply demanding it from our subject, right? Instead, we have to recognize the fact that respect is freely granted in response to multiple factors, in fact. And the first one I kind of think about is the fact that mutuality of respect is the cornerstone of rapport. Now, it's important to also remember that this is not to be confused with any sort of false friend approach, in which, for example, an interviewer might offer some sort of disingenuous compliment or small talk. I can tell you that type of approach is going to absolutely project some weakness and cause some resistance there. What I would encourage instead is to really think about respect as being this respect towards the interviewer as being this kind of organic outgrowth of the interviewer's bearing, but it starts with self-confidence. Now, when I think about self-confidence, everyone respects self-confidence, right? However, nobody responds favorably to arrogance. And frankly, arrogance, that particular reaction isn't very productive. And by the way, it can also lead to resistance. So keeping that in mind, as interviewers, we have to exercise caution not to cross that line deliberately or even inadvertently into arrogance. I also kind of think about intimidation. It's completely unnecessary. Listen, interviewers are sufficiently authoritative just by virtue of number one, who they are, the work that they do, number two, and number three, the confidence that they should be properly projecting. Overt displays of power during the interview, such as, I don't know, overplayed eye contact, visible weapons, props, or badges, all those things are counterproductive. Preparation and mental discipline, I should say, are really going to be the interviewer's principal tools throughout the conversation. Now, just as interviewers look to foster that truthful communication, the interviewee is also sizing up the interviewer for those possible signs of weakness, uncertainty, or even other vulnerabilities. And for that reason alone, an interviewer has to be mindful of their own emotional self-control, I guess you could say, when those attempts to insult or otherwise incite the interviewer come about. And certainly, I will tell you a disrespectful statement that's offered on the part of the interviewee must be immediately and definitively handled. But it's important to remember, if the interviewee takes the bait and falls victim to genuine anger, their own clarity of thought can become clouded. And the end result here is a loss of respect in the eyes of the interviewee. And ultimately, it's a failed mission in the conversation. The other thing to consider here is someone in an escalated state at times may act aggressively. And under those circumstances, definitely an interviewer, I should just say, is tested. Professional really does require that the interviewer maintain control of that communication dynamic. Remember, the goal here in our conversations is to elicit information, and it's not to engage the subject into any sort of collateral argument or even a physical altercation. And then finally, perhaps the most important aspect here is really going to be around the interviewer's attitude and the fact that it has to be objective and non-judgmental. Not only will this attitude boost rapport based on that mutuality of respect, but also it'll be a catalyst for future disclosures. Now, check this last piece out. It's important to remember also that confirmation bias is a poison pill to an interviewer's pursuit of obtaining actionable information. Respect will absolutely be lost if the interviewer fails to maintain adaptive responses over their own objectivity. Now, this does include both verbal and nonverbal responses. Here, I think about the interviewee sensing the interviewers, for example, their disdain towards maybe themselves as the interviewee, or even the misconduct. Then the likelihood of a truthful disclosure is really going to be impaired at that moment. Now, as I was kind of thinking about how to bring all this together, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll notice that the Honor Flight Network is something that's pretty near and dear to my heart. And I was recently at an Honor Flight event last week. And in talking to some past friends, we made some new friends, just hearing different stories from those vets and during that experience. Someone had brought up the fact, and it's something I remember from a long time ago, but I think I kind of forgot about it. Someone had mentioned or reminded me when he was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Colin Powell had a plaque displayed on his desk. And it read, "Of all the manifestations of power, restraint impresses people the most." And it was kind of like an aha moment. And, when I first initially, I remember hearing about it. And then in this moment, that friendly reminder, I found that point to be pretty equally appropriate within the interview setting as it is on the battlefield. So, fun fact for the day. As I wrap up my time here, I just want to, last but not least, mention next week, Saturday, we have a special day. Saturday, November 11th, is Veterans Day. And this is where we pay tribute and give thanks to our all-American vets who have served our country honorably. Please be sure to thank them for their service. Although it's one special day, this is something I hope we practice all throughout the year. And I would also encourage to please consider serving those who have served us. And there's so many ways to be involved. One of my favorites is the Honor Flight Network. Check them out. I'm happy to offer resources, but definitely spend next week, Saturday, showing gratitude and thanks. And with that, enjoy the rest of your Friday. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon. Take care.